Welcome back to the Law Show. This is attorney Brian Dailey, and we're broadcasting. We are not taking questions today. We're going to have an interview with two candidates running for the Michigan Supreme Court in the upcoming election. I'd like to introduce today Judge Connie Marie Kelley of the Wayne County Circuit Court Bench. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
And Judge Shelia Johnson from the Southfield District Court. I think that's 46th District Court. I've spent many a day down there with the judges down there and handling traffic tickets and drunk drivings and things like that. And so I want to thank you both for coming in to see us today. We had extended invitations to everybody who is running for the Michigan Supreme Court this year, including Justice Zara, who declined and actually didn't even return our call, and Justice Markman, who declined and actually also didn't return our call, and finally Colleen O'Brien. She called back and said no, she was not interested in coming on to talk to our listeners about why they're running for Supreme Court and what they think they can do and the value of the Supreme Court and what the Supreme Court stands for. And so we have two candidates here, Judge Connie Marie Kelley and Judge Shelia Johnson. We're going to just ask them a few questions. So if I can get the interview started with you, Judge Connie, Judge Kelley. If you could tell us a little bit about your background and your biography, where you've been, and did you grow up in Michigan, and just sort of like tell us a little bit about yourself so we get to know who you are.
Sure. I grew up in Royal Oak, actually, but I lived there, and I grew up there way before it was cool to be in Royal Oak. So that's where I grew up. I currently live in Redford, and I'm a Wayne County Circuit Court judge. I was elected in 2000, and before that, I served as an attorney for 27 years. I practiced in courts throughout the state of Michigan. I was a partner at the law firm of Powers Chapman, located in Troy, and I practiced in a variety of different areas and different courts throughout the state of Michigan.
That's awesome. Now, you are currently on the family court bench, and can you explain a little bit to our listeners about the family court bench, and what does that do, and what are the responsibilities, and why is there a separate family court bench in Michigan?
Well, it was decided that that would be the best thing for the families of the state of Michigan, to have a separate family court and have judges that specialize in family court. And we hear cases every day regarding custody, divorce, parenting time, child support. We also issue personal protection orders. In Wayne County, we issue 16,000 personal protection orders a year. And I found that the system wasn't really helping families to escape the cycle of domestic violence, so I was instrumental with two other judges in creating a domestic violence prevention court. It's the first one we've ever had in Wayne County, and we hear the worst of the worst cases in domestic violence, and I'm convinced that we've saved lives as a result of that court.
That's just awesome. And I know that when judges join the family court bench, there's often a time that comes when they can decide that they want to go elsewhere, but you decided to stay on the family court bench, I think.
I do, and I really feel like I'm making a difference with families every day. I try to resolve cases in an amicable way, because really there's no losers or winners in family court. My goal is to make sure that children are well cared for and well taken care of, and that parents do the right thing with respect to their children. So I try to help families co-parent in peace, if you will, and I think that's the best thing for the kids.
You know, we often tell our clients who are coming for family court services that really there's only one set of winners, and those are the lawyers who are getting paid all the money, and so they should try to avoid making lawyers winners, and there's really only one set of losers, and that's the kids, and they should focus on making the kids winners. And that's the way we advise people, and I'm assuming that you do the same thing as well.
I do, and I love my lawyers who come into my courtroom. We have a lot of self-represented people, but when people have lawyers, I'm very happy to have them. But sometimes I find that I can simplify the process for people. You know, instead of arguing over something like physical custody, let's agree we're going to have joint legal custody. That means we're going to make the important decisions regarding the children together, the mom and dad together. And then let's establish a schedule, a parenting time schedule. And I really think that I avoid a lot of adversary that way, adversarial proceedings, trying to get people to agree and move on with their lives.
Now, I've been watching the Supreme Court races in Michigan, and I've noticed that there's a number of negative ads coming from the campaigns for Zara and Markman and O'Brien. And there's one in particular I wanted to ask you about, and that is this claim that you're somehow some kind of an appointee of of Executive Ficano. Can you explain that a little bit?
Sure. Well, the ad says that we're all soft on crime, which is absolutely ridiculous. I have been endorsed for the Supreme Court race by every law enforcement agency in the state of Michigan. I've been endorsed by Wayne County Prosecutor Kim Worthy, Oakland County Prosecutor Jessica Cooper, and Macomb County Prosecutor Eric Smith, as well as all the law enforcement. So I don't think all those law enforcement agencies and prosecutors would endorse me if I was soft on crime, for starters. But with respect to the Ficano accusation, it's just so totally ridiculous. About 5 or 6 years ago, I served as a volunteer on the Drain Commission for Downriver in Wayne County. And what we did was we oversaw drain projects. And so I had no compensation for that job, no per diem, no gas, no mileage. They didn't even feed me lunch. It was completely an act of public service on my part. And as a matter of fact, I was recommended for that position by a Republican, State Representative Kurt Heisey, who was the head of the Drain Commission at that time, and he himself was a Ficano appointee. So there is just no basis in fact for that allegation. They're trying to make it sound like I had some scurrilous involvement, and it was really just an act of public service.
And that really goes along with who you are and what you've done all your life. You've always been involved in public service, especially in recent years, and so our hats are off to you at the Law Show. So if you don't mind, Judge Kelley, I'm going to ask Judge Johnson a little bit about your background. You come from the district court. I know that you ran there and you were elected there popularly in the last election, and you've done a great job down there. I've been down there in front of your court, and we've got guys down there all the time. And tell us a little bit about your background, Judge Johnson.
Oh, I'd be happy to do so. Well, I'm born and raised in the city of Detroit, and a proud attendee of Detroit Public Schools, and a graduate, though, of Kingswood School, Cranbrook. Went to Dartmouth College and the University of Michigan Law School. I was the first African-American to serve as really the president of the student body, which was a very diverse student body at Michigan Law. And I delivered the commencement address to our graduating class. After that, I went on to become a federal law clerk over in the Western District of Michigan for Judge Benjamin Gibson. Served it there for about 2 years or so, and even had an opportunity to sit with my judge by designation down at the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Sixth Circuit, and to clerk there and to help draft some appellate opinions for the judge. After moving from Grand Rapids, is where we were, back to Detroit, I joined a large law firm. I worked for Jaffe, then Snyder, Rayton Hewer, in the commercial litigation section for several years. And then I came out and developed my own practice, which really was hitting to the core of who I am as a person, representing regular people and their interests in a number of different areas of the law. I did just about every area that I can think of that you can do in a general practice, probably more than the specific specialty areas like tax, but I did a lot of divorce. I did child custody. I represented juveniles and children in delinquency proceedings as well as in child protective proceedings, protecting the interest of at-risk children, protecting those families and the parents as well who were at risk, trying to help reunify those family units in the judicial system. And so I worked for small businesses as a small corporate counsel. I've just done a variety of different work that enabled me to see the pitfalls in the system, the positive things about our system, to understand the definition of justice from the common people's perspective. And I've tried to use everything that I've learned from that side of the bench to make sure that I'm very open-minded, have an open ear to people, especially at my level court when we're dealing with people's issues directly. It's the first frontier of justice at the local level, to trying to make sure that people who are unrepresented really have a fair shot at justice, that they understand what the issues are, that they understand the opinion that you're delivering, so that they can walk away feeling that justice was done, even if they had to lose. And so I've been serving there since 2002. I was the first African-American elected to serve in our very diverse district, which not only includes Southfield, but Lathrop Village, Franklin, Bingham Farms, Beverly Hills, and Southfield Township. And so I really tried to represent the diversity of the community very well and to do the job that I need to do to reach into our community as well, not just sitting on the bench, but reaching in to make sure that we can help deter some of our young people who are having their first brush in the system at our court level. And I've created a program called Court in Schools where we do just that. We take actual court sessions into the school system so that we can show young people what's expected of them when they get involved with legal problems in the criminal justice system, show them the reasons why they're harming their future, and hopefully give them some positive role models for future careers. And you're right, I did serve probably as an unopposed judge. I was elected in 2008, so that really made me feel well that I was doing a good job, because you know you're doing well when no attorneys choose to run against you.
Yeah. I was going to just comment, it sounds like you, like Judge Kelley here, have really dedicated yourself, even in the midst of your private practice, where lots of lawyers go into private practice to make money. You dedicated yourself, it sounds like, to representing the interests of family and children and women, and that my hat's off to both of you for doing this. And we have a whole bunch more questions. I was going to ask you a little bit about the negative ads that I've heard.
Sure.
I've been watching very closely the Supreme Court races. They're very important to me, and really, it's something that a lot of my listeners. I don't know that they really understand what the Supreme Court means. The Supreme Court isn't just a bunch of high-minded stuff. It's protecting our water from companies that come in from out of state to steal the water and then put it up on the market. It's protecting women from being raped in the workplace. It's protecting children from being raped, and it's protecting women in the job and the marketplace so that they get equal pay and equal respect. And it really is something that is very important in day-to-day life. It's not just a bunch of high-minded stuff, and it sounds like both of you have done a really good job of representing women and children and families, and so I really appreciate, again, you coming to speak with us. But there was a negative ad I heard about you, and that was about a particular case that you handled. It was a juvenile who was accused as an adult, which the prosecutors get to choose in Michigan to charge a juvenile who's done or is alleged to have done a crime as an adult. And that juvenile was in juvenile lockup, which was where you chose to put him and where he should have been while he was pending trial, waiting for trial. And the prosecutor wanted to move him to an adult prison where there would have been all kinds of opportunities to take that fine young man, although he was charged with a crime, and turn him into a career criminal. And you said no. And can you tell us a little bit about that? And why did you say no?
Oh, well, absolutely. I am duty-bound to follow the law. And quite frankly, I didn't put the child in the juvenile custody. That's where, when he was taken in, that's where the intake process was in the juvenile system. Even though he was charged as an adult, he was placed there in the juvenile facility. And he was charged with a murder charge, an open murder charge. And quite frankly, though, as we all know, you're considered to be innocent until you are proven guilty. And so we cannot make the leap that because he's charged with a significantly heinous crime as it was, that he's absolutely must be guilty. And so what we have to do is follow the law. And the prosecutor made a motion to move this child into the adult system, and the prosecutor just could not meet their burden, the standard of proof that was necessary to move this child from the juvenile custody into the adult system, especially since he had been an overall model prisoner, if you will, in the juvenile court system. So I applied the law, I followed it as well, and I kept him where he was, and nonetheless, I listened to the facts and circumstances of the case as a whole. I followed the law there. I bound him over for trial, which was appropriate based upon the evidence that I heard. And of course, he went to trial and was in fact acquitted of the charges. And so I really stood up against any pressure, and that's what judges should do, is stand up and follow the law and make the right call, no matter how difficult it is, to make sure that things are done in an appropriate manner. And that means not bowing to any special interest, any outside pressure, not bowing down to the emotionalism of the case and the facts involved, no matter from which side, and to make the proper calls. That's what people expect from judges in the system. That's what people should expect, and that's what people are entitled to. Judges that are going to do the right thing, even under the most difficult circumstances, and who are not going to bow to any type of special interest or pressure.
So the takeaway from all this is that you're being criticized by the Republican-nominated candidates for the Supreme Court in Michigan for doing your job as you should as an independent entity competing amongst competing individuals trying to push their agendas and have you make a decision. You were independent, and they're criticizing you for that.
Absolutely. And the only thing that I can figure is that, people are responding to the positive attributes that I and the other candidates here have, and they like what they're hearing as far as wanting to do the right thing and making sure justice is done for Michigan children, families, and our communities. And so they're grasping at straws and misrepresenting information or giving a portion of the story in order to take away from our credibility. And I don't think that people are going to be swayed by that. People are a lot smarter than that.
Well, the listeners of the Law Show won't be. I'll tell you that much, and the Law Show host and moderator will not be either, because we're going to make sure that everybody understands who Connie Marie Kelley are and Justice Judge Shelia Johnson are in running for the Supreme Court. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to continue our interview with the candidates for the Michigan Supreme Court in 2012, Judge Connie Marie Kelley and Judge Shelia Johnson. So stay tuned. We're not taking calls today. If you do have a legal question and you do want an answer, you can still call 855 Law Show. That's 855-529-7469. We have lawyers standing by ready to answer your questions. But today we're dedicating our show to the cause of justice in Michigan, and we've invited all the candidates from the state, all the candidates running for the Supreme Court of Michigan to come in, and 3 have graciously accepted our invitation. Professor McCormick will be coming in at a later date, and now we have Judge Johnson and Judge Connie Marie Kelley. We'll be right back. Please stay tuned to learn more about your Supreme Court.